President Barack Obama has signed into law the latest National Defense Authorization Act in order to fund the Pentagon in 2017. Included in the act are a number of policy outlines ranging from cybersecurity to an update on the status of closing Guantanamo Bay. Here's RT correspondent Ashley Banks with more on the legislation.
With time quickly running out, President Barack Obama had just 12 days after Congress passed the latest National Defense Authorization Act to sign or veto the law. President Obama was able to make the deadline and recently signed the act into law in order to fund the Pentagon in 2017. Now, the bad news is the $619 billion bill is not only $3 billion more than what the Obama administration asked for, but the bill will also force an increase in military numbers, which is also more than the administration wanted. For example, according to the military, the Marine Corps will total 185,000 troops. Now, that's 3,000 more than what was originally requested. The Air Force will total 321,000 airmen, 4,000 more than Obama's request. And the Army's personnel will be set at 476,000, again 16,000 more than what Obama asked for. Also hidden deep in the NDAA Act is the Countering Foreign Propaganda and Disinformation Act, first introduced by Ohio Senator Rob Portman. Now, critics argue the act allows the U.S. government to censor some news as propaganda and push a government agenda, in other words, government propaganda, on the U.S. citizens, usually by way of labeling inconvenient stories as fake news. Now, President Obama stated, "My administration strongly supports the bill's structural reform of the Broadcasting Board of Governors, which streamlines BBG operations and reduces inefficiencies while retaining the long-standing statutory firewall, protecting against interference with and maintaining the professional independence of the agency's journalists and broadcasters, and thus their credibility as sources of independent news and information." Now, during the signing of this legislation, President Obama also spoke on the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center. Now, he shifted responsibility from the administration to Congress, accusing lawmakers and denying his administration the appropriate financial resources needed to close the camp, as he promised he would do when he first took office. Now, as it appears, he will not be able to fulfill it. In Washington, Ashley Banks, RT.
To unpack a little more about the NDAA, let's cross now to media analyst Lionel of Lionel Media. Lionel, I understand you've got a little bit of a problem with some portions of this bill, specifically ones that were buried within the pages, you know, the ones that aren't supposed to see the light of day. Right. What's your problem?
Well, I mean, Anya, aren't those purveyors of real news? You know, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and CNN, and MSDNC, aren't they supposed to ferret out and illuminate real news and keep from us fake news? Why is it that we have to put a magnifying glass on this, pour through the pages, and show this to the light of day, when in fact we are supposedly a part of, well, we'll let other people decide about that. Look, what this is propaganda. And the history of this country, from the days of Harry Truman, when the word propaganda really meant something. This was post the days of the Soviet propaganda, Nazi propaganda, this, and Red Scares. In fact, the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 was so specific, and they were so worried that the State Department would dare direct propaganda on citizens that it specifically forbade such. Then in 2012, 2013, the NDAA removed that. This adds more to it. So here's my question, Anya. You being the sterling journalist of note, how do I know when I'm getting propaganda? How is this propaganda provided to me? And Anya, isn't the best way for the government to disseminate truth, which I think really what we're after, is through education, through regular information, press conferences? Why does the government, my government, our government, specifically have to target us and treat us as though we're a foreign group of people that needs, I don't want to say brainwashing, but brainwashing?
There's another question here, which is, you know, who decides the definition of propaganda, the same way that we've heard discussions of fake news. is the government's job to determine what is truth, what is fake, what is propaganda, or, you know, could one government's propaganda be another one's truth?
Precisely. Remember what this is about. This is getting at alternative, foreign media, different platforms, because the internet was the genie that got out of the bottle. This is all about trying to claw that back. And little by little, bit by bit, you're seeing mentions of fake news. You're going to be seeing international treaties. You're going to be using this word fake news. We're seeing it all over the world now. You're also going to see our country becoming habituated to the idea that we need to protect us from that which is not true.
The government deciding what information is real or false. What could possibly go wrong, Lionel? We'll have a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about in the future. Legal and media analyst Lionel of Lionel Media, thanks for your time.